Nice to have you. Okay, next gentleman over. I guess you're in charge of Nicholas. And this one too.
Yeah. I'm Daniel Obadovsky. I run a Internet of Things meetup called The Silent Intelligence here in San Diego. And also the father of these two kids who go to the UCSD Digital Media Camp right now.
Right on. You already see you had no choice, did you? It's like my kids. They had no choice. They were forced into liking Star Wars and robots and stuff. It's just going to win. Okay, great, perfect. Thank you. And next.
Well, my name's Adrian Clausell, and I have absolutely nothing to do with robotics except it's a hobby. Well, I'm heavily into it, but not professionally.
Okay.
I'm actually a molecular biologist, and I'm retired now, so I get a chance to play.
Far out. So are you looking at how you can take molecular biology to the quantum level for artificial intelligence?
Not to the quantum level, but at least to the nano level.
Okay, cool.
And we're already sort of nanobots in a sense. You know, cells are perfectly good nano devices.
Good models, huh?
And so, you know, they're not as sturdy as silicon, but, you know, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, right on. Well, very cool. Nice to have you. Nice to meet you. Next one.
Here's Conrad.
Conrad, I knew that already, but they didn't know that. Say hi, Conrad.
Hi, Conrad.
So, I used to be in robotics, and now I'm kind of doing contract work, and I like a lot of different things, Internet of Things, robots, and just having fun.
Cool. Right on. How much time do we have left? Are we done almost?
Yeah, we can get started.
Okay, great. Well, thanks everyone for coming. We hope you enjoyed the presentation tonight. And just keep roboticking. I'd go around the room more, but obviously Hans was like, come on, Greg, speed it up. So my name is Greg Shumsky. I'm nothing really. I'm not a roboticist or I'm just a big, tall guy that pretends to be Will Ferrell when he goes up to LA. So for signatures and money. So no, I'm part of the R2D2 Builders Group here in San Diego, which is we thought there was only like 5 of us, but it turns out there's 6 of us, which I found out tonight. 7 of us. That's a good number. I've been a part of the R2 Builders Group for 7 years, give or take. I started out, my first robot I actually built, I was 18 years old, and it was an entertainment robot that I built that I ran at SeaWorld when they first started doing summer nights. It was started out, and actually I used it for like parties and stuff like that. He started out as just more of a maitre d' butler type robot for fancy parties in La Jolla, and then he became a comedian robot overnight, and SeaWorld used him for entertainment, stuff like that. So originally he started out with just I designed it, and it was just a fiberglass tube, and I had some legs made out of plexiglass, like big feet type things, and it was a fiberglass tube I bought out at Fibertech, and I added some stuff to it so it was round, and he wore a tuxedo. And then when I made some money, I had the body redone in plexiglass, so it was white and black plexi. So it was modular too, so you could pull the whole thing apart, get it in the back of a small car, take it back out, stack it, connect it, do some twists and connect some cables, and off you go. And that was all radio controlled with me being the voice of him. So R2 started out as a plexiglass tube. No, I'm just kidding. It was a father-son project that we started. We had heard about the R2 Builders Group, and my son, who's 19 now, 7 years ago was 12. If I do the math right. Well, he's not 19 yet. But so we decided to do a father-son project, and this is him. So it took us about 3 years to build R2, on and off, based on lack of time, lack of money. Sometimes just sitting around doing nothing, other stuff to do besides work on this. And this is him. So it took about 3 years to build. We've had him running about for 4 years. And we can get into things like, well, the body is, we decided to go with the least expensive build possible at the time, which started out inexpensive, but kind of if you build a robot, if you build an R2 especially, it starts out like, well, my budget's, you tell your wife, well, it's going to be $1,000, honey. And next thing you know, it's $1,500. The next thing you know, it's $2,000. The next thing you know, it's $3,000 or $5,000. But you know, you just kind of, you have a little thing you keep your receipts in. You just ignore how much money you're spending, and then eventually get to the point where, like, so I refuse to look at all the receipts I have for R2 because they'll probably send me to the hospital. Originally, so the body is wood, which I'll turn around and show them in a minute, and you guys can check them out afterwards. The original sound system was a Bluetooth speaker. It was like a $89 Bluetooth speaker called by Sound Freak, and it was pretty loud, and you pull it out and it turns on and you connect your phone to it. A lot of guys in the group, what they do is they actually use an MP3 trigger and an RF controller which has 18 buttons on it. The reason I went with Bluetooth and a Bluetooth speaker at the time is that we have available to us 103 some odd sounds from Lucasfilm. I'll get into that in a minute, how that works. And then by doing so, then using a cool little app like this, which is called Live Tracks, I can put all the sounds on my phone, and I store them on my iPhone 4S. It's still a good device. And what I did eventually was, it wasn't loud enough for shows, so eventually I got a small little T-class amp and stuck it in them and got some nice 3.5-inch speakers, which are behind the front vents. And then you go buy parts. So the body is wood, the legs are wood, the horseshoes are styrene, stacked styrene, which you can either do yourself if there's plans. Everything that you can do, if you're good with a router, or you have a CNC router, or you're just good with hand tools, you can build most of it yourself. There's guys that make CNC cut styrene horseshoes that are stacked, and you just glue them together and paint them and put the screws in and put it on. A lot of the parts on him are resin, like these. You can also get the shoulder hubs. You can buy them, either make them yourself and pour them out of resin yourself, or you can machine them out of aluminum if you want to. There's plans for that, or yeah, it's pretty much resin or aluminum. Some guys even make them out of styrene and spend the time making each one of the little spokes inside the hub. It's a lot of work, but it's fun. The more you do on your own versus just buying parts and putting them together, which doesn't make you any less of an R2 builder, is that you kind of get the satisfaction of saying, I built that, and I built that, and I did this, and I did this. So the hubs stay in with magnets. You guys can see what it looks like on the inside. And then once in a while, guys in this club, so the R2 Builders Club is pretty large, and eventually people start to come out with really cool parts that you just can't make on your own, like this guy. Anybody know what this is from the movies? Anybody? Bueller?
Restraining bolt.
Restraining bolt. That's right. Good. Very good. Good. The restraining bolt. Actually, the cool thing of the story of this is that the restraining bolt was okay. So all the little detail parts in here, you can buy or you can make yourself. If you have a CNC router or a CNC lathe, you can actually make these guys, which is pretty cool. Some guys have done that. These are resin. Some cheap. But nevertheless, they look like metal, yes.
Are there any 3D plans that you could?
There are 3D plans actually now. So there's a whole bunch of 3D plans online, and we've gone through the library of making sure they're accurate. So you can download the 3D plans. If you've got a nice 3D printer, you can print up whatever you want out of PLA or ABS. Yeah. So yeah, there's 3D plans. There's some guys that are actually doing the.
Yeah, there's a YouTube series. The guy that built the Iron Man suit also. Watch the whole progress.
Yeah, there's a guy right now building his whole R2 out of just 3D printing the whole thing. Like all the front parts, all the skins and stuff he's building out, he's printing them out in sections and just like a puzzle. This part is machined aluminum. It's actually based on the actual restraining bolt. There was a restraining bolt that guys came out with for a while that everybody was kind of happy with, but then a few busybodies in the group who have nothing better to do except make really accurate parts and charges for them came out with this, which is actually based on an Arri camera lens. So it's an Arri camera lens that they use in the movie for their restraining bolts. If you look at the movie, for those of you who are a little bit older, when the Jawas put the restraining bolt on R2 with the little zapper and they go like the little welder, it's actually a Radio Shack little torch welder. Remember those with the two little canisters? Right? So if you find yourself, if you go on eBay, which originally they were cheap, but now if you try to find them, they're super expensive because now they found out they're the Radio Shack welders that the Jawas used. That's what they used to put that on him for the effect.
That drove the price up?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So for instance, the lightsabers are made out of Graflex flash handles, photographic Graflex handles. So when people found out what they were, you used to be able to go to like the used photo store downtown, like George's Camera or Nelson Photo or one of the other places. You could get a Graflex flash handle for $20. But as soon as they found out that they were lightsaber handles, the price went to $150 just for the handle. So that's how that works. So what I did with this one was you can build them out of wood, you can build them out of aluminum. There's guys that make their own frames out of aluminum. There's guys that make their own frames out of. Bye guys. You come back?
Yep.
All right. There's guys that make them out of aluminum. There's guys that make them out of wood. You can there's plans online to make them out of wood. If you have a router, just cut it out yourself. It's cheap. There's guys that sell complete kits that you can get and glue together. The metal ones, there's guys that sell kits you can get and screw together. And then you can do the skins either in styrene. These are styrene skins that are all machine cut off a big, off one of the big sign machines for printer, sign printer machine, right? Or you could get them in aluminum, and they're laser cut aluminum skins. The nice thing about what I know some people do is they'll do the aluminum skin on the outside, they do the styrene on the outside, so it's more durable. So if somebody hits it, it doesn't dent as easily. Now, mine looks like it has a lot of dents because when I put the plastic on and and the weight just kind of forms around the wood, when you use glue, certain things warp and stuff like that, and it looks more, I guess, realistic than a showroom new R2D2. Right. Other parts, this is wood. Eventually I want to replace that with metal one. These are resin, and they work. Well, they're not hooked up to anything, but they do come out. I don't have them hooked up to servos right now. But there's now guys that make a kit where it's a whole mechanism that you can put the arms in, and it's got the servos, and it just slides right in, and you bolt it in, and hook it up, and it's pretty nice. Aluminum. These right here, the coin slots, I made out of styrene. I had extra styrene sheet, and there's plans online for that, so you just cut them out and form them and glue them together and paint them. And there's a lot of parts on this you can make yourself, like the side vents I made on my own, but I want to eventually get real nice ones. Oh, that's the piece that came off. Okay, well, now I know. I'm like, where'd the piece go? Yeah, you can make your own stuff, pretty much. He's running on 24 volts. So I have in the back, I'll turn him around, that's the fun part. So there's two 12 volt, 10 amp hour batteries in him. So he's using Razor scooter motors. Hello? So he's using Razor scooter motors for his motors, for the feet. So it goes pretty fast. I have it dialed down, and it's running at 24 volts. All the electronics are running at 12 volts. So inside of the body here, I have a 24 volt to 12 volt converter inside, which you guys will be able to see when you come up. The T-amp inside runs off of another converter that's a plug-in converter, as well as the Bluetooth receiver. This guy here, the blue box at the top, that's a Vantech motor controller for the feet. And then next to it over in here, the little guy, that's a Siren 10 from, what's the name of the company? Something Dynamics or something like that. And then the dome motor is a Pitman motor. There's a lot of people that either use the Pitman motor to control the dome, and there's other people that use NPC, larger NPC motors, or they'll use a Saturn windshield wiper motor, which is easy and they're cheap. You just cut the shaft and mount it in and put a big giant wheel on it from like a Razor scooter, for instance, or the clear wheels you buy at Harbor Freight, and get it with, you just drill out the center big enough to fit over the shaft and lock it onto the shaft and put a key in it and you're all set. A lot of guys do that. And those actually are nice because they're bigger, they don't squeak as much, and they last a lot longer because it's from a Saturn and they just go and go and go and go. As a matter of fact, a lot of guys don't use the Razor scooter motors. There's a number of people that use the NPC motors, or which again is like the Saturn wiper motors as well for the feet. And those run 12 volt. The nice thing about this is they're a higher torque. They're not as fast, but they're higher torque. So if you're, say, on a slight incline with R2, R2 will stay still. Where with the Razor scooter motors, if I'm on a slight incline, I have to make sure I'm giving him constant power to go in the other direction, because if I let go, he'll just go running down the hill. There's very little torque to these. I mean, there's enough for him to pop a wheelie, but right now I have the radio controls set. So what I do is I control him with this guy. Now, a lot of people get all fancy and they're like, oh, I'm gonna, so it's a Spectrum DX6 controller. Some people get the 8-channel or the 12-channel or the 5,000 channel controller with a million buttons and switches and stuff. The beauty of this is it's simple and it's straightforward and it's old tech, but it works great. You don't have to worry about it failing on you in the middle of doing something, or your droid accidentally taking off and running over small innocent children and old ladies. So yeah, the legs are again wood. The leg hubs are wood. They've got just aluminum just around them, and then they're connected like an axle with gas pipe. So you take two gas pipes, one slightly smaller than the other, and they just slide over each other nice and tight and snug, and you drill a hole to keep them from doing this thing. And then the feet, pretty much you just line them up and you go, and then you just, once you have that done, you got the front foot on, you just make sure that you do it at the angle between the legs and the body is 36 degrees. So it's 36 degrees, okay? A lot of guys, what they do is they will not use the radio control because they think it's too cumbersome. I keep it in here. Honestly, people don't see me doing it. I could be standing literally 3 or 4 or 5 feet away from him and have my hand in the bag, controlling him with these 2 fingers for the feet and for the dome, and nobody really notices because I'm not like this or this behind my back, and that way I control the sound also. So if people look at me, I'll just put my phone up and pretend I'm texting. They're like, where's the guy controlling him? There's new systems out which are really cool. There's a stealth system. It uses little controllers that are like nunchucks, and it uses an XB radio that goes to the robot, and you control just this. So you have them in your hands, and people kind of fist them like this, or they have them in their hands in their pocket. They're doing it. They can do the sounds and everything like that. But you can only trigger like 18 or 19 sounds with an RF remote. But with those, you can trigger a lot more. If you remember, I got to hit my button 30 times, then hit the play sound. I can remember what the sound was. I got to get to where this, because I have a bad memory, I've named all my sounds. So if somebody goes, so if a cute girl walks up or is by R2 or something, or gives them a hug, I'll do this. It's a little excited whistle. Or if somebody asks this question, or this, or this. Or if somebody is kind of getting a little too rough for me, I'll do this. I'll do this. So, and then have his dome spin. And then if I really want to have a lot of fun, or if a little boy or girl comes up and they're like kind of scared, I'll do a little sad thing and they give them a hug. And that works out really well. Or if the cute girl doesn't give them a hug, I'll do that. And then we give them a hug. Not even a kiss, which I don't get that. Let's see. So I've got 100 and some odd sounds, including some music like I've got Princess Leia. Well, I've got this.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
So with that, what I do is I have in the dome here, and I'll hook it up in a minute, but in the dome, I've got an Arduino that runs the holo projector, and I just switch it on with the Pico switch through the radio. And then I can have the lights flash while he's dancing, and he plays this. And he plays Staying Alive, and he dances around, and everybody thinks, how'd you program him to do that? Or I'll talk to R2 when we're in a crowd. People say, hey, R2, think it's anyone's birthday? And somebody goes, it's my birthday. And I'm like, okay, R2, play Happy Birthday for him. And he's like, and then he does. And he plays Happy Birthday for them.
Hope he has deep pockets, because that's
That's Lucas, I have tons of money. On Disney. And that's it. So I do the sound on this. Let me hook up his dome here, and I'll show you what that's like. So the feet are running. I've got the feet shut off. I've got a little switch here. I had a smaller switch on it. It didn't work so well. It finally burned out, so I got a nice automotive grade 24-volt switch that can handle tons of power. So let me turn them around. Power to the dome used to be by battery. I used to have 9 D batteries or 8 D batteries that ran all the way around the dome, which was a lot of weight. But it was great, but it only lasts like 3 or 4 hours. I'd have to change out batteries all the time. So then I got a 12-volt battery I put on the rocker bearing here. And that was great, but it's just like extra weight. So what I did is I bought a slip ring. And there's actually builders on the site that make a slip ring connection kit. And then in the back here, you've got a power distribution board that you take the 12 volts into, and it gives you 5 volts and 9 volts and 12 volts pass through. But the 12 volt pass through is real nice and clean because it's filtered on the way through. So, oh, and then let me show this thing. So the legs are actually mounted. You look from the side here. So the legs are actually wood on the inside, and they're mounted to the large discs on the inside here. So I physically screw them onto here, and then all the horrible wiring inside that you'll notice, that's all my work. And I took this board out. The nice thing about this motherboard actually was from my previous robot, from his serving tray when he served drinks. So it works out really well, worked out fine. Although now I'm running out of space, I'm like, where am I going to run wires now? And I pull it apart, rewire everything. And it's like, it's messier than before. Perfect. So people look at it. I'll have mechanical engineers or electrical engineers, electronics engineers from UCSD. I'll pull off the thing, and they're like, well, what's the wiring like? And I'll show them, like, wow, that is impressive. How'd you come up with that? So, it was a long time. Just made sure it didn't spark when I was connecting this. One time I actually did that. There was a short, or something was on, and I connected batteries. So you have to connect the 2 batteries together to get 24 volts, right? Well, in between is a fuse. It's a 30 amp fuse. And go connect the negative to the positive on the 2 batteries, and boom, big spark. Well, there's a spark and there's no power, and I pulled the fuse out, and it literally broke the glass of the fuse. And glass fuses aren't supposed to pop on the inside, not shatter it. So it shattered it. So there's a lot of power in here running around. I like sticking my hands in there wherever I want to, just because I'm daring. If my coffee's not working in the morning, I'll shove my hand there and just kind of root around until I get a good spark. One thing I learned about Arduinos. Anybody work with Arduinos? Yes. Okay. So I have Arduinos in the dome. The one thing I learned about Arduinos is if something becomes disconnected to it, or like a wire comes out or something that goes to whatever you have, unplug it before you plug the wire back into one of the ports, because if you have the power on and you plug in to like HP, it goes poof. You get the little blue magic genie smoke coming out of it, and it doesn't work anymore. So that's always fun. Let me connect the dome. So inside the dome is really cool. So this is a styrene dome. They make fiberglass domes. They make really nice aluminum. They made a really nice aluminum spun dome that you'd have to spend time. It would be, originally you had to figure out how to cut it all out. They got to the point of where it was, the outer dome was cut out, but the inner dome didn't have any cuts in it. So you had to spend time drilling it all out and drilling out for the holo projectors and other things. And now they make a water-formed aluminum dome. Get that water-formed. Which doesn't have the spin lines, which is kind of sad. But see, look at this. See, I was going to blow up this Arduino right now because I just had this guy disconnect from here somewhere, and I got to figure out where it goes. Yeah. I tape things down. Eventually, they come loose. So inside here, I've got a couple Arduinos. One that goes to the servos for the HP, which I've got disconnected anyway, which is fine. So I got a problem with the servos. But the idea with the servos is when the Arduino's running, does this sort of thing on its own. So you can have that on, and the servos randomly with the HP to make him feel like he's. And he'll sit and then look like this and like that. But I've got a problem with the servos. And the other Arduino in here goes to the holo projector. And why would I just have the LEDs in the holo projector just come on? Anybody? Anyone? No one? Somebody take a guess. Okay, so something about me is okay, so my job is I'm a user experience designer. I'm a UX or an experience designer. My job is to make things look as realistic as possible, and it's about designing the experience, right? So when I'm with R2, I'll either talk to him and have him interact with me, or I'll have him talk and interact with people, and nobody knows that I'm operating him. But if I want to, I can interact with him, and people still don't know I'm doing it. Kind of like Jim Henson with Kermit on his hand, you know, same idea. But so part of the experience, and so someday I'm hoping to be a Disney Imagineer. That's my goal in life before I die, is to become a Disney Imagineer. So the holo projector, if we remember when Princess Leia came on, what does a projector do? Is it a bright light, or is it a flickering light? It's a flickering light, right? So the Arduino runs a little bit of code to make the light flicker, and I'll show you how it works, hopefully. Let me connect this up real quick.
BB25?
Yep. Oh, the HPs are the Logics. The Logics on the front and in the back are Movie Correct 2 and New Hope. I know that's not a big deal to some, but to some it is. And if you look at, let's see, oh, here we go. So you see the HP, and it's flickering. So it flickers like a movie projector would. So it's like there's actually stuff. So if you turn it on, so let's see. There you go. So I have it hooked up to a pico switch. So if you time everything right, and somebody does something, you go like this, and you go.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Like that. So it's about the playing the experience. See, my timing was bad, so I've really got to go light, hit.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
And then you flip off the switch. So that's that. So then the radio has left-right movement for the dome. And then the feet, we turn the feet on. So I've got the controls on this reverse because it sits in my bag upright. So I know that this is right and this is left. And this is forward and backwards. And then turning. And when we get really good, you can pretty much control him in a room full of people, like a crowd, and not run anybody over, and do it very gently. It's all in the index finger, number one. And then the PSIs are by local. So the PSIs I actually bought from a guy, and you can actually set them to either flash and blink, or you can make them do the new Hope thing where they slide back and forth like a shutter.
On the front legs, why do you have 2 casters?
On the front foot, the reason is because before I had the it locked, if you do one caster, the front foot likes to do this, or like this, or whatever.
Oh, so it swivels?
It's okay for them to swivel, yeah, but so when you go forward, sometimes the front shell would kick down or kick forward, depending on which way you're going. So you put 2 in. But if you lock down the ankle, completely lock it down, then you could just do one big caster. So what I'm going to eventually do is I'm going to take the 2 casters out and put in a much bigger caster. And the beauty of the bigger caster is if you're going over thresholds or train tracks or something, you shouldn't get stuck. Right now, if you go over elevator thresholds, but when you go over other thresholds, he likes to get stuck, so you have to give him a lot of juice, and he'll pop a little wheelie and get right over it. Or when you're going along and you hit a break in the cement, sometimes that little break in the cement, he can totally nail that, and he'll lunge forward. The tripod design is a horrible, horrible design for a mobile robot, just letting you know. So if you think, I'm going to build a robot someday that's like R2D2, it looks cool. From an engineering standpoint, it's horrible. Now, if you design a robot to be a tripod, if you guys remember the original Ralph McQuarrie paintings of R2's, actually these legs, this was actually front ways, and the other leg behind him, and his dome was facing this way, and all the arms and stuff were here. But what he did was, in the actual one, he rolled at times. Other times, he did the whole crutches thing where he'd lunge his whole body forward, put down his leg, rotate his body, the legs come out in front, and do that over and over again. So if you do one, if you do make a robot that is 3-legged, then this is much more stable. Going this way, obviously, because you have a lot more. So the one thing he likes to do is if you are driving one, you got to be careful that you don't hit those or people's feet. He likes to tip over. I've had a few nosedives with him. First day out that we finished him, we had him at the Rock Church for some, and he did a nosedive around the stage. Coming backstage, he hit a little plate on the floor where they have plugs, where you plug in, did a nosedive. And I was doing a thing up in LA recently, and he was doing a walk and talk with one of the people, and they stopped short, and he got caught under the back of their heel, and they went like this, up like this, and it just threw him right over on his side. So banged up. So this is what we call. This is how we do weathering, ladies and gentlemen. So as you notice, the shoulder broke a little bit, so I added some silver paint, and all was right with the world. And people go, "Wow, how'd you make him so accurate with the weathering?" I throw him around a few times, and okay. So, all right. Any questions?
You have a machine shop in your garage.
I do not. I wish I did. I've got a bandsaw now and some other stuff, but a lot of the stuff either had to take somewhere or did it at a friend's house or something like that, or I got from the club. Like I said, these details on the side. These are aluminum actually here. The boosters, the booster hydraulics are aluminum. Those are machined. There's a guy that makes this, but there's plenty of people that have made their own. Same thing with the shoulder hydraulics. You can machine that yourself, and you can do all the knurling and everything you want. And as long as you have the stuff to do it, you can save a lot of money.
Have you kept track of your hours?
Yeah, altogether, if I really compress the 3 years down, hour-wise, I don't know, but probably about a 3 or 4 month build. If there's things I wasn't waiting for, or stuff I wasn't doing on my own, or just not time to do it, that would have been probably a 3 or 4 month build, give or take. Because I've seen guys do it in 3 or 4 months. What else?
When you're charging your batteries, do you have to remove them, or do you have like a port or something?
Yes, that's a good question. So R2, you want to show them your charging port? Oh, I want to show you something real quick. Okay, so his charging port is right here up in front. And I just plug in, I've got a 24 volt smart charger battery tender. I just plug right in. And on the light screen, you're good to go.
And does that do the battery on the canopy part also?
Yeah, well, there's just the 2 batteries down below.
Oh, okay.
So, and then he's getting power. He's
Through that
getting
slip
power
ring.
through
Right.
the slip ring up to the
Got it.
dome.
Okay.
So it powers the 2 batteries. It charges the 2 batteries down below. Anyone else?
Could the real R2 spin his head continuously?
Mm-hmm. Especially the new one that's in the new movie. So the cool thing is, the new movies, the old one could spin his head continuously. If you look up any Google the original production of Star Wars, you'll see that the radio control was really, well, what we had in 1977, 76. And then the control, just most of the radio receiver was up in the dome, and it was this massive, big, giant thing the size of a car engine in there. The new R2 from the new movie was built by fellow R2 builders out in England. So they were at a celebration in Europe, and a couple guys I know, and they were doing a group photo with Kathleen Kennedy, and one of them says, this guy named Oliver, says to Kathleen Kennedy, she goes, well, your R2s are great. He goes, well, yeah, you know, he did with the British accent, so I won't do that. But he said, yeah, if you ever need help with the new R2 with the new movies, just let us know. So months go by, and he gets a call from Lucasfilm. Hey, were you serious about that? Well, yeah. So he and his buddy Lee went to go build R2 and a few other droids for the new movie. So it's kind of a cool thing for all of us.
Do you have any plans to build new features into it?
Huh?
Do you have any plans to build more functions into it?
Yeah, so one of the things I'm adding to it, I've got at home now that I haven't installed, is when I want to take a break and they still want R2. So we had them at Disney D23 a couple years ago, and a buddy of mine he's pretty high up in Imagineering, and he's actually in charge of the new Star Wars lands that are being worked on, which you're not supposed to know, but now you do. He said, gee, it'd be nice if R2 could just work on his own and beep and boop and turn his dome while you take your breaks. I don't have to take him back or whatever. I said, yeah, that would be nice. So I got an Arduino, the SparkFun Red card, and an MP3 trigger with 18 sounds out that I've loaded on, and we got code. A buddy of mine from the group helped up out of Oregon. And so that there's just flip an SB, a single pole double throw switch. And that'll cut off the radio signal, and then it'll switch over to the Arduino, and it'll control the dome. So the dome will theoretically okay, stay away. Over there. The dome will turn on its own. A little bit this way, a little bit that way, slower, faster, and he'll beep and boop. And there'll be a PIR sensor inside of here, so if he's not doing anything, he walks up to him, he'll start interacting with him. It's not really high tech, but it gets the illusion across that it's working. He's in the meantime working on a whole voice control interaction thing like the Hasbro toy, which is great for quiet rooms like this, but like in a convention or at a show or something like that, not so great. Anyone else?
What about a camera for like a first-person view?
Some guys have done that. They put a camera right behind the lens here, or they put like a little GoPro here on the shoulder, something like that, or they put a little camera on top. But some guys have gotten the clear lens or smoke lens, put a camera behind it. It's not something I could see because I'm just watching what's going on. I don't need to be going this.
Well, you could be totally remote or handed off.
I could, but the thing is, you want to stay within a safe distance because some people are really great with them, and some people's kids are great with them, and some people's kids are not. So you let them get close and see how they do. Sometimes they're very good and fun, but some kids will start to. One kid came up and almost did a full karate, full-on Naruto, and I stopped him, and the parents got mad at me. I said, this is at the library opening day that they had. And the parents said, why'd you do that? Said, well, how much do you think this is worth? Well, how much is the mortgage for your house? Well, I can't afford a mortgage, we rent. Well, how much is your rent? Well, $2,300. Okay, this is twice as much as a month's rent. So, if you want to let your kid go full Rambo on him, you can give me 2 months or 3 months rent for me to rebuild a new one. They're like, okay, come on, Johnny, let's go. Because some parents are really great and some parents are just completely irresponsible. So be good. Don't give your dad gray hair. Like mine did. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, anyone else?
If you got a convertible that you can plug him into and then pretend like he's driving you down the road.
Oh, that'd be nice. I know. No, I really though. So right now I haul them in the back of a Honda Element when I'm not driving my DeLorean, and yeah, that's funny, huh? No, I really have a DeLorean, and it doesn't fit. So, or my little Beetle. So when I put them, I gotta take the dome off and all sorts of stuff. What I'd like to do eventually is when the Element eventually dies, is find a really cool old, like a Ford Aerostar or something like that, and paint it to look like the Star Tour shuttle, right? Yeah. So I make it painted like the Star Tour because it looks like it from the front. And the idea is to cut out part of the roof, not for him to go up, but to have another R2 pop out of it, be all waterproof and just on hydraulics. So if it gets water in there when it rains, it's not a big deal. But when you're driving, it pops up and his dome turns, his lights come on and stuff. And then when I park, his little dome goes down and seals off, and then I open up the back gate and he comes rolling out. So again, it's all about the illusion of life and about the experience, right? Yeah. So that's the plan. That's my plan, not my wife's. But
you said there were like, I guess, 6, 7 R2D2 builders in San Diego.
Yeah, we actually have, I think, a little more now because of Celebration.
Okay.
There were, at the time, I knew there was like 4 of us, and then there was like one more who never showed up to anything, and he goes, another one never shows up to anything.
Yeah. I joined that celebration.
Okay, there.
I spent all my time talking to the guys there.
Okay, so, you didn't come to John's house, though, did you?
Yeah, so okay. I don't have any parts yet.
Okay. So that's okay. That's really cool.
My question is, how do the different builds compare, more or less? Just,
at the end of the day, they all pretty much look the same. If you want your droid to be, if it's something like there's 2 guys, Chad and Blair. Blair and Chad have more money than you could ever hope to have in a lifetime. Chad's is, he purposely beat us up with chains and hammers and stuff to make it look aged and weathered, right? And paint like this. So I get a lot of people saying, you know, how'd you do the weathering? It's just you take a sock and some water and some black acrylic paint and wipe it on and wipe it off. And if it's in the wrong place, you go, oh, crap, it's too much. Okay, I guess it's good enough. And then, you know, I had guys from Disney go, wow, how'd you get the weathering so accurate? And see, I purposely, like, I scraped up this and I painted silver. This is resin. They make metal ones that are really nice, which I want to get, but I painted this to make it look like it's all chipped up from them putting the data card in wrong too many times, and so on and so forth. So back to your question, and then Blair's Blair's looks like it's showroom new. It's all aluminum, and he just bought all the parts and slapped them all together. But so they all pretty much look the same. If you follow the plans, if you go to the build days that we have here, if you go to the get together that we have up in LL, it's called the R2 LA, but it's really in Yorba Linda, so it should be the R2 OC. Yeah, they're all pretty much look the same. I mean, you can tell yours from someone else's because of the paint job and stuff like that.
What about functionally wise in terms of?
Oh well, see there you go.
Guts,
some guys have like the arms out, the arms pop out.
Domes fully articulated.
Domes fully articulated. They'll have like
spend 10 grand or 15
yeah,
grand. They can do anything.
An actual laser hologram projector.
Yeah, right. I wish. Some guys have put projectors inside of here, which is really slick.
Yeah.
Some guys have the periscope pop up. And that's a cool little kit you can buy. So there's guys that do a run of really nice. You can either build them out of styrene, and it looks pretty darn good. You can buy the all metal one that these guys make, and they sell for $250 or something like that. And it's just by itself. Then you have to buy the pieces to make it come up out of the dome, and it rotates around a few times. It does left, right sort of move. A little lights flash, and it goes back in the dome. Some guys do that. And then they do the light form scanner, so it comes up and lights up, and goes, and it goes back in the dome. Some guys have every single panel on here articulated with servos. So they'll be using a controller that someone can, there's certain guys that come with really cool controllers, like the Mark Juino or something else like that. And they have their controllers, they go click, 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 click. And this go, like with an Xbox controller, and it hits so many patterns on it, and then it goes beep, 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 and all the panels open and go like this, and all the side panels all fly out and close up. And there's another cool one which I'd like to add is this little guy, which is called the Magic Panel. If you watch in A New Hope, this opens up and an arm comes out, right, and he fixes the ship. Not like I see that, but what they do is in Return of the Jedi, when he gets shot and he's shorting out, this lights up red. So they actually make a panel that goes in here that fits in there perfectly. So they plan it out, fits in there perfectly, and you put some silver tape on top of that. Looks like spun aluminum, and so it looks normal, but when you light it up, it flickers red. And then they get these guys to work. Some guys have a panel open up on the side, I think like this one, and they have a air canister inside that's upside down, and they trigger it with a servo, and it shoots out smoke like a fire extinguisher, so it goes psh, or they'll do it out of here. Sometimes R2D2 had it come out of here for some reason. Some guys have really gotten into like this inside here. I haven't added the boards in yet, but this is supposed to all light up inside of here, and I've got that at home, and I just haven't hooked it up yet. And then this guy opens up on some of theirs, and there's a whole data panel inside there, and it all lights up. And then they get these guys open up on the side, and they'll have the CPU arm and gripper arm. And some guys have made this where it opens up, and the inside panel opens up also, and then the cattle prod comes out, and it really works.
It's great for those kids that go college.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The 3-to-1, 3-to-2 conversion.
Oh yeah, so there's some guys that have gone like with the metal ones, and some guys have done it. So some guys have gone the 2-3-2 route, which is not something recommended for your first build. I'm considering it for my next one if I do one. So he can actually go from 3-legged mode to 2-legged mode, and still roll around and then go back to 3-legged mode. It's pretty slick how they did it. And there's all sorts of ways to skin that cat. Some guys have an elevator inside for the middle leg. Other ones are using linear actuators also, and they use linear actuators on the side. Other guys use beefed up satellite motors for the shoulders to get the shoulders to turn. Some guys have done where it's just one motor that does the whole thing. And some people, people do a run, and you can buy the kit and put together, or you can figure it out on your own and come up with something better. One guy did one using a Saturn wiper motor also to make it go up and down. And then, oh yeah, he does the cool stuff though, because he makes the little boosters, they actually split open. they're supposed to go down, but they actually split open the booster covers, and the boosters pop out of each side, and then they light up and they smoke, and they make the little engine set like little rocket sound, and it's pretty cool. And the smoke is like he's doing the same smoke they use for like vaping or something like that. So sometimes he'll do Captain Crunch or Strawberry Fields or something like that.
Can we please have a picture with R2?
Yes, in 1 minute. And then he has all these lights running around outside. So it's pretty cool because when he goes in three-legged mode, he has it do like low rider and it'll go forward and forward till it gets really low to the ground and then scoot back up and crazy stuff.
Given that Disney's not exactly friendly toward copyright infringement,
Right.
have you run into any?
No, actually, it's a good question. So the way it works is, as long as we don't build them and sell them for a profit, or as long as we don't charge for things that we do, we can do charity work. We're considered ambassadors of Disney. Disney hires us for certain events, and they hire us for, like Vans had their kind of reveal of their new Star Wars shoes. So Vans calls Lucasfilm, and Lucasfilm gets a hold of one of our guys in Orange County, and then he sends an email and says, who can do this? And, I can do it. Great, okay, you'll take it, and then they put us in touch, Lucasfilm puts us in touch with Vans or whatever, and we say it's $800 for a day or $1,000 for a day or $500 for a day or for so many days. So the Vansing was slick because they set me up at the hotel and they paid me as well. And
what if you were to do a video or film or something? They would like that.
No, they're fine with that as long as
really?
it's parody. As long as it's not Amy Schumer, you're just fine. So you little adult. It's a long story. As long as you're not charging for it, we've done plenty of fan films and stuff like that with R2, and they're totally cool with that. So before they use you for a licensed sort of event or something like that, you have to send them pictures. They go, perfect, he's perfect, it's perfect, or they go, not good enough. There's a lot of guys in the club that are just not good enough, and they don't care. And I put my R2, and there's guys like me who really care, and so I've done, I don't know, however many events for Lucasfilm and Disney. Oh, I gotta show you something else cool too, real quick. So for years and years, I've been wanting to take this. I've had him at Comic-Con, and when Peter Mayhew would show up, Chewbacca, right? And he didn't come for like so many years because of his bad knees. He got his knee surgery, and now he's in the new Star Wars. So there's a Comic-Con this year, so I got him to sign his door. So if anything happens in R2, it's fine. As long as I have the door, I'm good. I'm hoping to get other people to sign it, like Harrison Ford and stuff like that. That's actually fiberglass. Metal. So it's metal fiberglass. Okay, so any more questions before any more questions?
Anyone trying for C-3PO?
Anybody what?
Anyone trying for C-3PO?
Yeah, there's actually a few. There's most of the guys there's like 3 or 4 main guys that dress up as C-3PO. They're little guys about so tall and very thin. And they wear C-3PO costume.
I mean, for real.
There's one guy trying to build a real one. Yeah, it's taking him a while because bipedal robots just aren't a thing yet.
No.
No.
Why don't you go as C-3PO for Halloween?
Huh?
Wouldn't that be a great Halloween costume for
I'm
you?
too tall, and I could be a Wookiee or a very belly-heavy Darth Vader. But I consider myself a Wookiee because they're the good guys.
So is Imagineering the next step at
Yeah.
some point?
It is.
It's exciting. So would you actually be interested in working on the new Star Wars?
I would, yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping to be involved with that and whatever they need, or in charge of building droids for it or something like that for the new Star Wars line. So we're going to do them in Florida. We're supposed to do one here in Anaheim and eventually in Shanghai and Europe as well. And Japan. I guess Tokyo.
What park are they putting in?
Which park?
Disneyland or?
Oh, they're going to have it at Disneyland. Oh, Disneyland. Probably behind where Star Tours is now.
Okay.
There's a lot of extra land around Disneyland that's just backlot right now that they could expand into. So like, California Adventure, they just took over the parking lot. right? But so the idea is to have it by Star Tours. But there's a thought you could also do at Tom Sawyer Island as one turned it into indoor, essentially. Because nobody really goes to Tom Sawyer Island.
Not anymore.
It's just,
It's in the wrong place though, right? In the park.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
So we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Picture time? Any more questions? If you want to know more, you can Google R2 Builders or R2D2 Builders, or astromech.net is our website. And there's everything that you need. There's plans, there's study it, learn it, get to know every single thing you can. Come to the build days that we have here up in LA. Get to know people, study them, take lots of pictures. That way it doesn't turn out from a $1,500 project into a $5,000 project. Oh, I mean it could, because I'm still adding stuff on them or making changes. So eventually I want to get the metal line. I've got a new lens to put in here. It's not. Oh, the lens in here, by the way, was you know the clear Christmas balls that they have at Michael's, right? Right? Yeah. Okay, that you put potpourri in. So I took one of those, and it comes in half, and then I drew. So I put it into where I think it should have been. Drew a little Sharpie marker on it and just cut it with the Dremel and painted it. But see, I didn't have any shiny black paint. I had like matte black paint. So I painted it in there and it kind of clouded it. So I mean, people don't really care. I care. I look at it and go, man, that's so horrible. This is horrible. People go, wow, that's really great. No, it's really horrible. So, yeah. Anyone
Have
else?
you built any other robots?
Besides the one I built when I was about 18 years old, no. But I've worked for a robotics company for a little while. And we made robots that you could teach. So instead of programming them, you actually would teach it. Like, you know how you go to school and they teach you how to do math and stuff like that? Or how to play, you know how to, remember how they tell you how to play Foursquare, right? Well, we would teach the robot the same way. We'd say, I want you to learn how to do this, and we'd put it in learning mode. And the robot, it's Brain Corporation, it's a really cool company. And when we came and did a demo, remember? Yes? So, yeah, so Brain was really cool. And you could teach the robots how to do stuff. And then after you taught it, say, okay, go ahead and give it a try and do its thing. And if it was wrong, you'd correct it here and there. And they'd continually learn how to do stuff. Pretty scary. So, any more questions?
So how do we learn about the local builder events?
Oh, go on to astromech.net. And if you go under club activities, you'll see a thing for San Diego builders. Yep. Anyone else?
Can we please take a picture?
Yes, come on up. Picture time. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out, everyone. All right. Come get your picture with R2.
I think we should take a group photo.
Yeah, if you guys want to do a group photo real quick, I'll scoot them out a little bit here. Let's do a group photo, and then we can do a individual photo. So watch out. I'm going to make them go forward.
Your toes.
Oh, I shut his motors off. Ah, come on. All right. If you guys want to all get behind him or whatever you want to do, that's perfectly peachy. We have lots of room back here.
I'll be in the group photo.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.